I never imagined that the hardest part of loving you would come after you were gone. People think losing someone happens in a single moment. It doesn't. It happens every morning when you instinctively reach for your phone to tell them about your dream. It happens every time. You hear a song that only the two of you understood. It happens every time. Something wonderful happens, and your first thought is, I can't wait to tell them, before you remember that you can't. The day we said goodbye, everyone told me the same. Ding. Time heals everything. I smiled politely, but deep inside I knew they were wrong. Time doesn't erase love. It simply teaches your heart how to carry it differently. For months, I blamed myself. I replayed every conversation, every argument, every silence. I searched for the exact moment where our story slipped through my fingers. Maybe if I'd called one more time, maybe if I'd listened more, maybe if I'd said I love you instead of assuming you already knew. Those maybes became the loudest voices in my life. Then one evening, while walking through a quiet park, I saw an elderly couple sitting on a bench. They weren't talking. They were simply holding hands, watching the sunset together. The man gently smiled at his wife as if he were still falling in love with her after all those years. For the first time, I didn't feel jealous. I felt hopeful. I realized something you had tried to teach me long before we lost each other. Love isn't measured by how long someone stays. It's measured by how deeply they change you, and you changed me forever. You taught me patience. You taught me kindness. You taught me to notice the little things, the way the sky looks after rain, the comfort of hearing someone's laugh after a difficult day, the power of saying I'm here when words aren't enough, even after you were gone. Those lessons stayed with me. That's when I understood the truth I'd been running from. I had lost you, but I hadn't lost what loving you had made me become. So I stopped asking life to bring you back. Instead, I started honoring your memory by becoming the person you always believed I could be. I smiled more. I forgave faster. I loved more honestly. Not because I had forgotten you, because remembering you, no, longer felt like carrying a wound. It felt like carrying a gift. And if somehow you could hear me now, there's only one thing left to say. I lost you, but I never stopped loving you. I simply learned that sometimes love doesn't end with goodbye. Sometimes it becomes the quiet strength that helps you keep living. There was one thing I never told anyone. After you left, I never deleted our conversations. Not because I was refusing to move on, because every message felt like a tiny piece of your voice that I wasn't ready to lose. Some nights I'd scroll all the way back to the beginning, to the awkward first jokes, the late night conversations that lasted until sunrise, the dreams we made without realizing life had different plans. I smiled, then I cried, then I smiled again. It became a quiet ritual. One rainy afternoon, I found an old voice message from you. I hadn't listened to it in years. My hands were shaking as I pressed play. Your voice filled the room. You laughed first. Then you said, "Promise me something." I whispered, "Anything," even though you couldn't hear me. If life ever separates us, don't let losing me become the reason you stop living. My heart stopped. I had completely forgotten that message. Maybe because I wasn't ready to understand it back then. I listened again and again. Each time your words sounded less like a goodbye and more like a blessing. That evening I did something I never thought I'd be strong enough to do. I closed our chat, not because I wanted to erase you, but because I finally realized you had already become part of me. I didn't need a screen to remember someone who had changed my heart forever. Before going to sleep, I looked up at the stars. For the first time in years, I didn't ask the universe to bring you back. Instead, I quietly whispered, thank you for every memory, every lesson, every moment that taught me what real love feels like. I still miss you. I probably always will, but missing you no longer feels like drowning. It feels like looking at the ocean, knowing it changed the shape of the shore forever. I lost you, but I finally understood something. Love doesn't disappear just because two people stop walking the same path. Sometimes it stays behind as the light that helps you find your way home. Years passed, Life kept moving, even on the days I wished it would slow down. The pain that once lived in every heartbeat became quieter, not because I loved you less, but because I finally learned that grief and gratitude can live in the same heart. One autumn afternoon, I found a small box while cleaning my closet. Inside were movie tickets, a faded photograph, and the little bracelet you once tied around my wrist, laughing as you said, "Don't lose this. It'll remind you of me." I smiled. You were right. It did. I held that bracelet for a long time before placing it back in the box. For years, I believed keeping those memories meant I was trapped in the past. Now I understood something different. Memories aren't chains. They prove that something beautiful once existed. That evening, I walked to the place where we used to watch sunsets. The bench was still there. The trees had grown taller. The world had changed. So had I sat quietly as the sky turned shades of orange and gold. Then, for the first time, I spoke to you without tears. "I hope you're at peace," the wind answered with a gentle breeze. Maybe it was only the weather. Maybe it was something more. Either way, it made me smile. As I stood to leave, I realized I wasn't walking away from you. I was walking forward because of you. You had taught me that love isn't about holding on forever. Sometimes it's about letting someone's kindness become part of the person you are. I still love you. I probably always will. But now that love no longer asks for yesterday, it simply thanks yesterday for giving me the strength to face tomorrow. And if our souls ever meet again in another lifetime or another world, I won't ask why we lost each other. I'll simply smile because for one beautiful chapter of my life, I had the privilege of loving you, and that will always be enough. This is the last time I'll tell our story, not because I've forgotten you, but because I finally made peace with missing you. If someone asks me years from now who my first true love was, I'll smile, not with sadness, with gratitude, because you showed me that love isn't measured by how long it lasts. It's measured by how deeply it changes you. I lost you, but I found a stronger version of myself because of you. I found kindness, patience, hope, and the courage to love without fear. So today I let you go, not from my heart, but from my pain. You'll always have a quiet place inside me where no goodbye can ever reach. And every time I look at the sunset, hear our favorite song, or feel the wind on a peaceful evening, I'll remember you with a smile instead of tears. I lost you, but I never stopped loving you. I simply learned that the purest kind of love doesn't always ask someone to stay. Sometimes it thanks them for the time they were there. Goodbye, my love, until eternity. Sometimes people ask me if I've completely moved on. I always pause before answering, because moving on doesn't mean pretending you never existed. It means your memory no longer keeps me from living. These days, when I think of you, I don't remember the goodbye first. I remember your laugh, the way your eyes lit up when you talked about your dreams, the way you believed in me on days when I couldn't believe in myself. Those are the memories I choose to keep. I realized something that took me years to understand. We weren't meant to last forever. We were meant to change each other forever. And we did. You left pieces of your kindness in me. I left pieces of my heart with you. Maybe that's why some people never truly leave us. They continue living in the way we love, forgive, and care for others. So, if this is the final page of our story, I don't want it to end with sorrow. I want it to end with gratitude. Thank you for every smile, for every lesson, for every ordinary day that became extraordinary because you were there. I once believed losing you was the end of my story. Now I know it was the beginning of the person I was always meant to become. Wherever you are, I hope you're happy. I hope you're at peace. And I hope somehow you know this one final truth. I never stopped loving you. I simply learned that real love doesn't always hold on. Sometimes it quietly lets go, carries the memories with a smile, and keeps wishing the other person a beautiful life. And that perhaps is the deepest form of love there is.